Prototype program 2018. What we're going to do is take apart the pod pack. None of the edges are finished yet, so that's what we have: the Dremel and the mini Dremel and a bunch of other tools that we were able to purchase, is to do finishing touches to get all the edges super clean, super smooth. So everything right now is kind of like razor sharp, all the edges and everything. So we're going to get clean as if it came out of like a mold or a factory, at least try and get as close to that as possible. The first step we're going to do is we're going to remove this feature. This is the slide out, and there it is. There's the back. We still don't know how the lid is going to come on and off. We got some gasket seals yesterday that are made for, I think they're for window trim, at Lowe's hardware store yesterday, and we're going to mess around with those to see if we can figure out how to make it work. I have a bunch of sketches and engineer drawings for it, but I got to modify it to match exactly what has been built at this point. So we'll work on that as a separate project, working on how this lid will be removed. It's a nice thing. The other thing that we're going to do is this slide out is going to be designed to come out completely, so that this itself will have some sort of magnets built into the edges and be able to put the back of the pod pack or an additional accessory onto this and use this thing as a mini pod pack. So super cool idea. So you get the same straps that you would use and go ahead and attach them to the top and bottom, and you have this mini pack for, maybe it's just for a day. It kind of helps fill in the fact that we eliminated the 2 central core pods. You just did 1 central core pod. So now you still have that option to go miniature if you need to, if you're just going out for half a day or something like that. So we'll work on that as a concept. The next thing we have is we're going to turn the pod pack over. So here's the side, or the inside of the pod pack. Get a good idea of that. And we're going to turn it over now to the back. You can see we actually have the side pods on there now. They're just representational. They are made of PVC, but we haven't put any structure or anything yet. So now we're going to turn it over and we're going to actually do the access panel now. So turn it like that. So we're going to take that out. And this will give us the opportunity to start working on the front, the back, and then the inside, kind of all at the same time, and bounce around a little bit. The one thing about building a prototype is you end up bouncing around a lot. A lot. So let's go ahead and take this off. So this should just slide out. We designed everything to have some sort of slide system. Oh, there's a piece of tape. We can get all the tape off. Alright. So there's this. So this has a rib structure that we're going to weld in these joints, and then we're going to epoxy these. And what happens is these actually act as compression in between the gaps in that you see here, and it keeps the walls spread at just the right distance, so that all our tech can get sandwiched all the way around. And really what happens is this is like this perimeter, this 1-inch border, is actually all for wiring and a couple of Wi-Fi and a few other things. But the actual circuitry and everything is actually inside this central core piece here that has its own panel. So we've got this, we've got that. So then what we will do is we will take off the side pods, because those will be assembled separately. We did get our magnets in today, which is really exciting. The issue is they're slightly different size than the other ones that we had for our magnet latches, so there's a good chance that we're going to have to go back in and repurchase another 4 to match exactly. But I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to do a combination of the two different sizes and see if I can still make it work. Okay, so we're really just taking off the tape right now. Some areas. One more. Alright, so here's one side pod. It's about the inside volume. We did decide to do just one long one, which is kind of cool. They still will work on the mini pod pack, which is going to be a nice feature. But that's that. We've still got to design, put the lid in and put some structure in here because right now it's just the sides. We are gunning for this concept of being able to roll this entire pod pack out like in one sheet of PVC. And it all gets like laser cut precisely, just enough so it kind of folds like origami. That's our goal. I know it can happen, it's just a matter of engineering and figuring it out. So now we have that. Let's take off the other side pod. Okay. That one came off a lot easier than the other one. Try to put more tape on the other one. So here's this side pod. They are exactly the same, just symmetrical, just opposites of each other in terms of pretty much the fold, whether you fold it this way or the opposite way. So here's the second one. Okay, now what we're going to do is we threw some spacers in there just temporarily, little drain things, but they're like 1 inch. We're thinking what we'll do is throw a couple spacers in general, mount them through the sides of the pod pack just to give it a little bit more structure for now. We'd like the whole thing to be laser cut and precast pieces and all that stuff, but we'll have to work through that when we're actually in the manufacturing phase of it. So now that we have that, so now all we have left is, you can see there's the lid, and that lid will be redone. That was just kind of experimenting to see how it would work out. So we'll take off this access panel, is what it would be called. In computer world, this would be like the the big base that you have underneath your desk, the CPU. I'm sorry, the PC, not the CPU, the PC. And we did put 2 finger holes, and we plan on doing that feature as well, unless we can later on figure out a way to have a push click where it opens up. We did install 2 flaps, as you can see them, and they're just taped on right now, but what these will do is they act as when it snaps in, it kind of holds the thing up as a structure because they catch on the side walls, and it holds the whole thing up a little bit, and that's just the distance that we need, that all the tech will lay nicely in here. We messed around with some holes to work on aeration for the technology to breathe. The good news is since it's so low voltage, it doesn't require too much air to breathe because it doesn't generate a lot of heat. but I do believe it does need something, and that's a whole art form in itself, figuring out how to make something breathe with air but still be waterproof to keep air, water out. So that's a tough challenge, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So there's that panel. So now you see the exposed bay, and this is pretty much where all the circuitry is going to go. This is just about everything. Now there is a secondary tray that's in here. We'll pull that out so you can see it. This tray is made so that we can, in theory, disconnect all the wires and have just the main circuitry components sitting in here. So in case you wanted to like kind of swap out, you know, a tray, let's say we just call it tray, swap out a tray for a smarter tray. Maybe it's got more lithium batteries, maybe it's a little bit more intelligent. So this tray slides out and it's got rails on it as well, and this is where everything, all your circuitry components sit on, and kind of sits like that. Let's go ahead and label this real quick. So there's that. Now what we have is just the, I guess you could say, the shell that encapsulates the slide outs and the drawers. So what we will do now is kind of, let's take, so you can kind of see that now. Now there's nothing here. We've taken out all the hardcore things, and just it's a framed shell. What we want to do is we want to remove the front. So we'll turn it over real quick. We want to remove this front so that all we have left want to keep as much as possible this outer thing though. I guess it doesn't matter if I think about it. Alright, so here's one wall. Right. So there's one wall. Some pieces right now, and we'll have to weld all that together. And this looks like it's going to be the bottom. We use probably 4 rolls of blue tape to assemble all this. It's too bad you can't magically turn tape into plastic welds, huh? Pretty easy. Alright, so here's the bottom. Pretty basic body. It is double layered. It's got the grid that has these laser cut areas, and then it's got a secondary surface underneath to give it even more rigidity, more structure, and so that's that. We will be inlaying some rubber feet and stuff in here to make it so you, when you sit the bag down, if you're at the airport or something, it's got something a little bit to catch the floor. So there's the bottom. Let's get the other side. Alright, there's the other side. By doing this, it also affords us the opportunity to decide if we need to remake any of these walls, or if we mess up on a wall while we're cutting out the little areas where buttons and sensors go, then we can easily do that without having to worry about it already having been assembled. So here is the top, which I think actually is one of those contenders that will have to be remade a little bit bigger, but we'll figure that out when we get there. So now at this point, what we have left is pretty much the shell with a frame, so when it's being assembled it would just kind of slide in. Pretty lightweight at this point. We use 2 different gauge PVC pieces on here. A really nice thin one, since it's really just a placeholder for where the electronics are going to pop through, and then a real nice thick one, since this is a more outside surface. It actually comes into contact with a lot and actually needs to be a little bit more strong, have some strength to it since it's sitting on top. So anytime you cut out a big section like that, you got to make sure you double, triple, or quadruple your math and your strength in there to compensate for the void, so it still maintains its strength. Alright, so I think we'll leave this assembled as is for now, and we'll take it apart when we start to finish this one. So at this point, let's show you all the pieces we got. So there's that. There's the top and the bottom, the side pods, the slide out / mini pack, the backrest, the access panel, the tray, and the side panels where the magnets adhere to the side pods. So to give you an idea, that's pretty much the pod pack. And then you also have your straps. You can see I got some Velcro here. Got to go to Joann Fabrics later and get some needle and thread. I can't find my needle and thread pack, but we got a lot of sewing to do. Sounds like a good movie night. Pop in like a little Iron Man or something like that while sewing. So it's just sitting here in the shop. So yeah, so that's pretty much the whole system outside of the accessories. You know, you still have the slide out, which I can show you real quick. So you have the magnetic backrests. You see here, we're going to epoxy those magnets to that. We have, let's see what else we got. We have the telescoping for the luggage mode. We actually just finished the top of that. You can see that. We still have to put a metal plate on top of it to allow it to be magnetic to the handle system. We have this really nice material here. This is a yoga mat. We're going to line the inside with it to give it a little splash of color. You know, a little electric blue we thought would be nice. And then there's just the handle and the wheel system, and that's about it. That's the whole thing. So get excited. We're going to knock this out, put it together, and get it out there for everybody. So I hear you out.